Hello everyone, welcome back to the Real Starfighter, and today we're going to be talking about 5 things that I believe X-Wing 2.0 made better and saved the game of X-Wing Miniatures. For those who don't know, X-Wing 1.0 came out in 2012, and it's had a really good start. It was a lot of fun, but towards the end of the days before 2.0 was announced, there were some very, very dark times in its history, and I kind of want to talk about some of those changes that 2.0 made and made better for the game. So start off with number 5, the open meta. The meta is so open. There's very few lists that auto win. There were always those lists in 1.0 that automatically won. One that actually made me stop playing the game until it was hit by FFG was the Fen Rao, Dengar, Analdra, Atani Mindlink list. I was at a store championship, and the top 5 or 6 tables was just that list, back to back to back to back to back. There was no other list up there. It ruled the table. Bombs were a huge meta thing. Twin laser turrets were a huge meta thing. It almost felt like if you weren't running a meta card or a meta list, you weren't going to win. And it's unfortunate to say, but when a player wins more, they want to play the game more. And so when you have a new player who's basically losing to cheap card combos, they don't want to play anymore because they're not flying. They're not losing because the other person's better than them at flying. They're losing because the other person spent more money on cards and has the crazier combo. Number 4 is returning the known pilots. Another thing about 1.0 that was really hard was when I joined, I was around wave 7 or 8. And I was like, okay, cool, I'm going to bring my list with Luke Skywalker and Wedge Antilles, and I'm going to fly, Dutch, I'm going to fly this. And people told me, you can't fly those guys, they're not good. I'm like, what do you mean they're not good? It's Luke Skywalker. Luke Skywalker's got to be good. He's, one of the best pilots. And Wedge is definitely the best pilot. He's got to be, number 1 on the table somewhere. And they're like, no, the X-Wing is actually the worst ship in the game. That shocked me, that the face of the game, the face of the whole franchise, the TIE Fighter and the X-Wings were not good. The TIE Fighter was reduced to, well, it's a cheap blocker, and that was it. But there was no, TIE Fighter lists running around when I started playing. And everyone was always telling me, oh, yeah, you got to fly the K-Wing. I've never seen the K-Wing. I've read about it. I've seen it in, books. But, it's not something that I can, show someone who's only seen the movies of Star Wars and go, hey, you want to play X-Wing Miniatures? Okay, cool. Well, you're not going to play an X-Wing. You're going to play the K-Wing. You're going to play the Skirg Bomber. You're going to play the Fang Fighter, and just things that you don't normally see, that you never saw in the movies. So it was really hard to pull people in when those were the ships running the meta, running the game. So I'm really glad that 2.0 restored the known pilots. So Boba Fett's a threat. Vader's a threat. Luke Skywalker is definitely a staple in almost every Rebel list, along with Harrison Dula, who's made a name for herself with the Rebels TV series. Poe Dameron's very good as well. Every face of their faction is very good and is almost a staple in every list. Number 3, it's kind of a weird one, is bombs. Now, the reason why I say bombs is I was not a fan of bombs. I don't think bombs belong in the X-Wing Miniatures game whatsoever. I came to, shoot down enemy aircraft, not bomb them or dodge bombs. I came to be in a dogfight, barrel roll, boost, do all that kind of stuff. And bombs don't let me do that. I have to avoid things. So I just don't like bombs. But I'm so glad they fixed them in 2.0. They are not broken. There's no action bombs that you can, fly, do a slam. When they went to advanced slam, you drop the bomb on someone, giving them free damage. Free damage was also really bad with Sabine Wren, with people like Oiken in the Decimator that was just able to ram you when you took a damage. There was just a lot of things about bombs and free damage I did not like about 1.0. It made it really hard to play the game. People could win, and I would lose ships without them even shooting at me. They would just drop a bomb on me, and I couldn't avoid it. Now I can avoid it. Now I can, okay, cool, they dropped a bomb during the system phase. I ended up here. If I do a barrel roll, I'm out. If I do a boost and a barrel roll, I'm out of it. They make me spend my actions, but I'm not spending the actions the way I wanted to. It's kind of a control factor now. That's what bombs offer, as more of a control factor rather than just being a free damage dealer that it was in 1.0. Number 2 is balancing the way we get upgrades. There was a huge joke back in 1.0 that the Star Viper expansion pack was called the Auto Thruster expansion pack because everyone bought the Star Viper for the Auto Thruster cards. I'm not even joking. I have like 7 or 8 Star Vipers in my collection, or I've bought 7 or 8 Star Vipers just to get Auto Thrusters for lists that I was trying to build, or for my friends, or for my dad who was also playing the game too. We had to buy some ships multiple times, not necessarily for the ship, but for the upgrade cards. And the upgrades were everything. At one point, the K-Wing was over $100 because it came with so many meta-defining cards, like the TLT, the Twin Laser Turret, extra munitions, the slew of bombs, the plasma torpedoes, which are the cheapest torpedoes in the game. There were just so many packs of ships that we bought for the cards, not for the ships, not for the pilots, but for the little tiny rectangular, vertically rectangular upgrade card. We were running around looking for those. Like, we could have cared less about the pilots, and it was really sad. Which kind of leads me to my number one reason why 2.0 saved X-Wing, and it's returning the pilots as the center of the game. Piloting and the pilots themselves are the most important thing in 2.0. I really love that when they unveiled 2.0 that it was the pilot does this, the pilot does that, the pilot. I love that one of the best lists I've ever flown, it was Rebel Beef in a couple hyperspace seasons ago, that it only had really one upgrade card I was using because it was outmaneuver. I mean, I had Jamming Beam on there, but Jamming Beam's more or less was there for a meme. I'd never really used it. It was 0 points, so why not include it? I was never going to fire it. No one's ever going to pick Jamming Beam over their primary weapon. It just never happened. And then the other 2 upgrades I had were the S-foils for the U-Wing and for the X-Wing, which I don't really count as upgrade cards because they're just part of the ship. It's to help function the ship. Like, you're going to include them. They're 0 points. They add to your action bar. They let you do things. Like, you're not going to not add them. So between the 4 pilots I had in that list, which were Braylon, Wedge, Jake, and Cassian, I really only ran one upgrade card that was an actual upgrade card I used, and was Outmaneuver. That felt like fun to me, and I did really well with that list. Whereas in 1.0, if I would have done that, I would have gotten my butt kicked. If I wasn't running, a bunch of upgrade cards to make these combos for defense and offense, I would have just lost. I would have just gotten blown out of the water for no reason. So I'm really glad that 2.0 put everything back into the pilot's hands, the player hands. I really like that the player interaction, and because that the player interaction has increased, my opponent does something, I have to respond to it in some sort of way. They turn their turret, now I have to arc dodge differently. They drop a bomb, now I have to fly differently and do this. Like, there's so many more interactions between players because nothing's automatic. There's no passive modifications anymore. There's no thing that just goes, okay, well, you just get this because you get this. There's no 0 point cost thing that says, all right, well, you assign this condition, you get to modify and get crits or whatever have you. Like, you have to work for the damage. You have to work for those big plays. And that's what makes it more fun, because you get rewarded for those gambles, for those successes, for that K-turn time perfectly right, for that barrel roll that fits in a position correctly. Barrel rolling is so much harder now. So when you complete a barrel roll, it's way more impressive, because back in 1.0, it was just like, all right, cool, barrel roll over, I can fit anywhere along this template. Okay, here. Now you can only fit on one of 3 spots. And so when you do a tight barrel roll and you fit in there, avoid a rock and some ships, and you still get a shot off to take out an enemy, that's more impressive now. You're way more rewarded for your piloting. You feel so much better about it, and it just makes 1.0 feel so much better. So anyway, guys, that's my list of the 5 reasons why 2.0 is number 1 better than 1.0, and why I think that 2.0 saved the game of X-Wing Miniatures. It's really nice to see that I can fly whatever I want, and it's not going to auto lose. It really depends on my piloting. I don't have to rely on combos and my upgrade cards. I don't have to worry about bombs as much as dealing free damage or any other type of free damage. And I'm glad that I can fly the faces of the franchises. I can fly Luke Skywalker and feel good about it. I can fly Wedge, who's my favorite pilot, and feel amazing about it. And I know I have a chance at winning. Like, they're actually good, deadly pilots. And now that the X-Wing actually has some repositionability where it didn't in 1.0, there's a little extra one in there, that almost every ship has repositionability. Every ship has a chance at dogfighting. Just some ships are better than dogfighting than others. But at the end of the day, it comes down to you as a pilot and you as a player. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to tell me something about what you think 2.0 does better or what makes you like 2.0 so much, leave it in the comments. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. This place crawls. And remember to always check your 6.